What's up, hooligans? Jay Hooligan here,
Hooligan V.
and welcome to another edition of our live lunch. This is Tuesday, right?
I was about to say Thursday.
It feels like a Thursday. It just feels like things are never ending, and they should never end. They should keep going perpetually, forever and ever. Yes, so opening this weekend was Mortal Kombat, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. Hopefully no spoilers. We're going to do our best to do a non-spoiler edition for this. But before we get started in that, make sure that you guys subscribe to the channel. You can also support us at our Patreon, patreon.com/HideHooliganFilms, link down below. Or you can buy one of our RPG IRL shirts from thewanderingkillsman.com/shop, also in the description. So yes.
You out of breath saying all that?
Yeah, my allergies are just like, every time.
Like
and then it gets better the further I go into this and just start like talking out loud and whatnot.
It sounded like you were just like,
I'm trying
like
to.
an infomercial.
I'm trying to breathe. Nature doesn't want me to breathe. Like,
They chose you to give you the allergy.
Mm-hmm. It's been all my life. It's been like that all my life. And it's funny because I was working in the circus, like traveling elsewhere across the United States. It's like, no, it's fine. It's mostly like California hay and certain grasses and stuff like that. California hay is the worst. It is the worst, I swear. Like I've worked in a tight train car with a bunch of hay from the East Coast. Perfectly fine. No allergies, no nothing. California hay, terrible.
You know what it's like to not have allergies?
Stop.
That's just mean.
That is very mean.
Say something like
Don't be a jerk. We're on live lunch.
They have to see. Anyways, what's our topic today?
So our topic today, Mortal Kombat, another popcorn flicks. So, which one should we start with? Mortal Kombat!
We can't. Well, what do you mean start with
Mortal Kombat or popcorn
flicks?
I know we're trying not to do spoilers. So if you haven't been in the loop, all right, Mortal Kombat, they redid one. They did a remake for it after the '98 version, the '90s version, which we did. Was it a couple weeks ago? We did a review of video game adaptations for film, and we talked a little bit about how Mortal Kombat was like one of the first ones that came out. Street Fighter was the second one. Super Mario Brothers was the first one to ever come out, like a video game, console games, I guess you can say, for a movie adaptation. So after they redone Mortal Kombat to be a little bit more gory, more true to the game series, they just came out last Friday on HBO Max and theaters. So some good news on that. Theaters, their opening weekend, they had a $23.3 million opening. I believe it was just over Demon Slayer. Because Demon Slayer is an anime. They did their opening. I believe it's this weekend in the United States. They did like 21 something, I think. So, a lot of people are starting to go back to theaters. They did the same day release on HBO Max. Which again,
well, it's not the same
ridiculous.
experience when you watch it on HBO Max, because in the theaters you get to actually experience the surround sound and the bigger screen and the clearer picture, everything how it was meant to be,
Crazy. And since theaters are opening up, and with all the big five or the big six, whichever one you prefer, are still trying to vertically integrate, with Sony now moving a lot of their movie slate over to Disney after their initial pay one window for Netflix. It's becoming more important and more evident that we need to go to those third parties like theaters and movie theaters, and people enjoy them anyway.
And support them.
Right? Yes, and absolutely support them. So keep going out to those theaters, keep supporting them. So the big studios, the big Hollywood studios, don't just take your money every which way, and yeah. It's crazy. It's really, really crazy how many of those things. Like I said, we did that live lunch last Thursday about... Was it last Thursday? We did the Big Five? Big Six returns? I think it was last Thursday. And we essentially showed you, like, there's only about 5 or 6 big companies that own everything. About 90% of media. That's a ton of media. That includes print media. So, They are controlling 90% of what you see and consume every day. And that's not even including big tech. Alright, so outside of big tech, we're talking about media. But with stuff like last year, how Disney had stopped making Blu-rays and DVDs, they are essentially pushing out all third party to vertically integrate with all the material. You want us, you pay us, and you pay us, and you pay us more. And so doing the same day release crap that they've been trying to do, where, oh well, we're gonna release it in theaters, but you can watch it on our streaming platform for a fee. It's kind of dumb. And then also with Mortal Kombat, excuse me, coming out on HBO Max. HBO Max is not charging an extra fee to do it, which again, Disney can shove it with that little extra fee.
You can say it right, Disney.
Oh, Disney can shovel it up the rear end. It's like with that little extra fee that they're trying to do. Like, oh, guys, you don't need to go to theaters. Just pay us and pay us again for this. You're already paying a subscription. Now pay us more so you can go watch the movie.
No.
I'm not gonna do it. I almost did it.
To see the numbers for that, to see how many people are actually paying for it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They can't. That's the other side to it. Netflix started the trend. Thanks again, Netflix, of flubbing the numbers and coming out with whatever hell numbers they want to. And there's no reporting accountability to show your numbers of who's actually paying, how much they're earning, and et cetera, et cetera.
I don't know. I feel like it's not just Netflix, though, but TV series as it is. Like, it's already been hard enough as it is to try to find information on series, even ones that are on cable.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, like, Netflix started that trend for streaming because they would just throw out whatever number. Hey, look, guys, we've got the number one streaming series. I forget when that was. Was that last year or the year before? Number one streaming series in the world, and due to our sample sizes. Not necessarily that it's, like, the full, like, numbers that they had, but it's like, oh, well, your sample size, according to some small country that most people, only have Netflix. Your sample size is obviously going to be like, look, this percentage, and if you take that percentage of every country and try to add together, like, look, that just must be the same. Statistics are funny things, and can be manipulated in so many different ways. So, yeah, the whole thing with streaming and not being able to, not having to report on the numbers correctly, again, it just kind of runs back into how much more shadiness they can get into. And again, they've tried the same day release stuff. They used to do it on demand, video on demand, way before streaming. I believe it was in the early 2000s.
I remember that.
Yep.
Like barely.
Guys, you don't have to go to the theaters. This was in the early 2000s. Just pay for it here, in the comfort of your own home. And it's like, okay. Now, instead of that going through, say, your service provider, and they're getting your service provider as a third party, even though Comcast owns a lot of the media. It was one of the big six. Instead of that, now they're like, oh, well, now we're just going to have it on our streaming platform because new media loophole, even though it's still technically violating the Sherman antitrust laws based off of that. Oh, that's the way. They try to get away with that because they're doing modern day block booking, where they will license movies out to other platforms going, look, guys, we're not vertically integrating. We're just doing this for you. And then they blame you guys. They blame us. They blame the audience and the fans. And it's ridiculous. So, that's I'm never going to not rant about Big Five or Big Six and the vertically integration crap that they pull. Whether it be Disney or Comcast or whoever. I mean, bring back the theaters. Bring them back. Go see the movies. If you're going to did Godzilla vs. Kong. Now you've got Demon Slayer and Mortal Kombat that came out this weekend. They're showing, hopefully, Hollywood again removes their heads from dark places. Slayer. Yes, well, you got to finish season 1, don't you? Haha.
It's on Netflix, right?
It's on Netflix.
I don't have Netflix.
Oh, you can watch it here. Anyway, I totally lost my train of thought. Go see it in theaters. Yeah, those 3 movies at least are showing, hopefully, like I said, Hollywood would get their heads out of their dark places. And
I think their head is a little too far out there.
They are. That's why they're vertically integrating, going, and then they're BSing the audiences and the fan base, like the consumers, essentially from a business perspective, they're BS and the consumers going, we're doing this for you. You guys have forced our hands. No, we didn't. We didn't force you to do anything. Like, that's your decision, you dummies. What kind of backwards, type of logic is that? We call it rationalization, actually. When you have a conclusion and then you try to find reasons to make that happen, that's called a rationalization, or make it true. So when you find people that are like, look, I found this article, and completely negate the other side of the argument, that's called a rationalization, which is completely different than being rational, which is of sound of mind. Rationalization is the opposite of logic, where logic is you have evidence and then you have a conclusion. Nope. They think that we're dumb enough to go, oh, okay, you're doing it for us. There must be millions of people that are doing it. Like, millions of people, hundreds of millions of people wrote to Bob Chapek over at Disney and went, you have to give us to us on the streaming platform or else. Like, oh, twist my arm, guys. Yeah.
Really twisting it.
Yeah. On another positive note of what's going on in the industry, and I don't know how true it is, I'll have to research that, but George Lucas might be pushing to rehire Gina Carano.
That's cool.
Which is weird because Lucas doesn't own it anymore, but...
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't make... I don't know what the...
There's a lot of interesting things going in the Star Wars universe.
But speaking of blockbuster movies...
Yeah, I know. We'll get to that in a sec. But yeah, like that whole thing, there's talk of Jon Favreau taking over for Kathleen Kennedy, which is great. Talk about fans not being happy with the move that they did over something stupid. Now, for firing Gina Carano. And again, it's like whether you agree with what she did or not, the fact is that they haven't done anything for the slew of other actors that are, just as open about their political views and just as controversial, like Pedro Pascal, in the stuff that they post. Nope, no ramifications, no nothing.
It's because they're with their party.
Yep, because they align with their party's views. Completely ridiculous and stupid. Anyways, okay, so yes, speaking of blockbusters, what the heck is a popcorn flick? Go.
Like the big tent movies, right? So like...
Sort of. So like what? Sorry.
I forgot the question.
What's a popcorn flick?
Like entertainment. So like, I don't know right now. I'm tired.
I'm tired. So a popcorn flick. Let's go ahead and define that. A popcorn flick is essentially a film generally, I say generally because this is how it used to be, but over the years it has changed a little bit. Generally it is of a little bit lower quality in terms of filmmaking. So, but it is entertaining to watch. The story is the dialogue is but it's still entertaining to watch. So,
like big explosions and...
It's kind of like where it shifted toward it. So,
or not just big explosion, but that's an example of one, like high action or
Mortal Kombat, like what we're talking about here,
or like horror, pop horror, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going for the entertainment value for that. Mortal Kombat, again, non-spoiler review, was we thought they did a great job with it for a popcorn flick. If you're going in this for the story, you're going in for the wrong reason.
It's funny because I remember you talking about that when the Meg came out about popcorn flicks. Mm-hmm. Saying that the Meg was like a popcorn flick.
Well, it's funny because most popcorn flicks nowadays are like action flicks. Mm-hmm. Expendables
the Meg is action.
The Meg, yeah. Even though it's not sci-fi, it's fantasy.
I guess, yeah.
Because it wasn't really horror either. No, it was thriller. I'm sorry, it was thriller. It's thriller, action thriller.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be action thriller. Not really horror, but...
I don't know, I enjoyed that movie.
Wait, which one, the Meg or the Megalodon? Because there were two movies.
The Meg with...
Jason Statham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I watched the Megalodon. What is that, the sci-fi movie? The Asylum movie?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you saw it?
Yeah, we ended up... with my kid. We were he wanted to watch the Meg, and he was like, "Oh, look, the Megalodon." I was like, "I don't think that's the right one," and we ended up watching it. It was like, oh, oh.
Was it you I saw the Meg in theaters with?
Yeah.
It was you.
Yeah. Because we went to go watch it to make sure that he could watch it too. It's like, okay. But yeah, popcorn flicks are essentially entertaining flicks that are just there for the entertainment value. You're not looking for anything deep or story-wise or anything to blow your mind.
It's an escape from reality.
It is a form of escapism. I mean, most films are forms of escapism anyway. But again, yes, we thought they did a great job with the VFX crew did great. The action was great. Adding in fatalities. If you are going to go watch this, they will show fatalities. So
Talking about Mortal Kombat now,
Mortal
right?
Kombat, yes.
I was
I'm
like-
sorry. Yeah, I was
We
kind of
were
switching back
talking
and
about
forth. Just the Meg and stuff for Mortal Kombat. If you are going to go see it, be advised there are fatalities in there.
blood everywhere.
Yes, but it was fantastic. Again, we're trying to think of things we could talk about it that are non-spoiler, but we're entertaining. Oh, Kano was great. Probably my favorite character in the whole movie.
His lines are very memorable.
Yes.
You know.
His quips are great. And just pay attention if you're gonna watch it. Pay attention because he'll say like lines off screen or just like under his breath.
After
And it's
like
just,
the subject has already moved on.
After
or,
it's already moved on, and he's just like, oh, okay. And he doesn't say what he
and
says.
it's very like
fantastic.
It's very low, so it's like you almost don't catch it, but you do catch it, and it's like right there. So it's just like
they did a good job with Kano. It's again entertainment.
Who was
value.
the actor for that?
I don't know.
I
I'll
would
have
have
to
to
check
look
that out.
that. Look it up. What's his name?
It's Kano.
I'm gonna find out.
Liu Kang. Raiden. They almost had them all. Almost. But they
Josh Lawson. Oh, Josh Lawson. I recognize that name, and I don't remember. I'm not gonna talk about that film.
What?
It was a weird picture.
No, I'm not gonna. Yeah, that just looks weird from the poster.
If you guys look up Josh Lawson, you can see the known for picture up there and see what I'm.
Oh yeah. I got you.
Anyways, that's the guy who played Kano.
Kano.
And fantastic job. I like Sonya. I liked her too.
Yeah, they did a better. I think they did a better job this time around with Sonya, considering like, just considering the first one, not really having fighting ability or anything special about her. That's terrible to say. But that was the thing. It was like she's supposed to be this military badass, and then came the 90s Mortal Kombat, and it's just like,
What?
okay, like there's nothing to show.
I used to pick her as like a player to play with.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. That's like.
But that could be me because I didn't play it too much. But that was the only like character I would play. I think, and then probably, what's the other one? The one that was. What's his name? Liu Kang.
I don't know. Was it Liu Kang? Is it Kung Lao?
It was the one that was with the gi.
Oh, that helps.
Thanks. That doesn't help me.
I
don't know their names too well.
Mine was Scorpion and Raiden. Those are my two.
Oh, but then I have the girls in there. The ninja like ones. I don't know their name.
Oh, you mean like Katana and Melina? They had the further. It's weird because it's like they try to do more of the newer versions. Okay, so that's something we should mention too, because we were thinking about it. Like, it's nothing new with the main character. Main character Cole Young is the main character protagonist for the story. Completely new character. So if you're trying to find any information about him, he's actually very, very new to the Mortal Kombat universe. So that's something that was different. And who knows, they might add him in. They probably will add him into future Mortal Kombat games. I can't see. I don't know. I can't say that. That's gonna be a spoiler.
Yeah, but I was kind of hoping to see them, Katana and I don't remember the
Melina. Yeah. I mean, again, it's like trying to figure out at what point is this in their time. There was another article, I forget what it was on. I think it was either on Collider or
the timeline.
Yeah, Screen Rant, where they're talking about like the timeline for this one. But even still, it was like the production value was pretty good for what they did. And again, the action was great.
Some of the effects were pretty cool. Watching them do their like combos and just like.
Yes.
I was like, that's cool, and then like, of course, blood.
Yeah, the gore factor. I mean, that was the whole selling point for Mortal Kombat. That was what made it different than Street Fighter and King of Fighters and all those other games that came out. Yeah, it was a bloody mess. But again, this type of film is a popcorn flick. Again, it's not gonna wow you in its storytelling. They tried to with.
Yeah, it was okay. I think I like the action more.
Yeah, that's where the definition is. Now again, when you're talking about filmmaking and storytelling for all those things, yes, it's even for popcorn flicks, they're going to try to give motivation to the character of why they're doing certain things to move the story along, which is fine, But those things may matter more to the character than it will to the audience, because the audience is like, move along, next fight, please. That's a popcorn flick. Or say like an Expendables, next gunfight or next explosion. Yes.
Is that like Mission Impossible?
Yeah, Mission Impossible. Yep. Mission Impossible. When's the next sneaky attack? Action. Yeah.
But I don't feel like. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
What were you saying?
No, just like in the Meg. When's the next shark attack? Same type of thing.
Yeah.
Like you're just waiting for what's next.
Right, because like when I was thinking action, and I thought Mission Impossible, I was thinking Top Gun, but Top Gun I felt like they did a good job with the story.
You talking about the original?
Yeah. Wait, is there another one?
They're making a sequel. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Maverick. Yeah. But I mean, Top Gun had a little more. It had a little more substance, but it's still technically. I would probably classify it as a popcorn flick. Because it's nothing really in the story elements or in the story itself that was like, oh, it's compelling to watch. Like, I want to know what's going to happen next. Mm-hmm. It's like, let's put it this way. If you've only watched it, maybe as a kid. All right, well, let me ask you, what's the plot about?
Top Gun?
Yeah. What's it about? What's the story about? Don't know. Boom! Popcorn flick. That's a good one. If you don't remember what the story's about, but you remember the moments in it, that's a popcorn flick. All right. And that was part of the description that I put here. That's why Martin Scorsese was talking when he was talking about theme park films, okay, and how they're not cinema. Like, he's right and he's wrong. Okay, yes, it is cinema because you're still seeing that in the cinema. What he's talking about is the old school idea of cinematic filming and storytelling, which are basically non-popcorn flicks, right? He's talking about the big. What was the one he just did?
Who?
Scorsese, the one last year, The Irishman. Right, that are snippets of life where it's like not necessarily about the. What's going to happen next. It's about the story itself. Why is that story engaging? Why is it bringing in audiences? Why is it connecting and stuff like that? And it's supposed to mean something more, right? Those are non-popcorn flicks, right? That's what he considers cinema. So we have two sides of the spectrum. If you've got Scorsese's cinema
or
and
art house,
art house is different. So art house is still kind of. It's a little obscure. Alright, so we have a triangle of different movies. You got cinema on one side, you got popcorn flicks on the other, and you've got art house, which is its own little, artistic representation of however the heck they want to do it. Doesn't mean that you don't have crossovers between all these three different type things or elements of that.
Snyder tried to do that.
Again, whether you like the Snyder cut or not, that's besides the point. We have our own opinions about it because we are filmmakers, and we do dive heavily into story, and we know what we like and what they do, and or what we're looking for, and it's nothing against people that do like it. Again, the first version. Again, people were upset with the Joss Whedon version, and but saw it as a popcorn flick. The stories were very hard to try to keep track of on the first one. In the second one, it's like they try to keep the essence of a popcorn flick with the action and the superheroes and everything, but then they lost us when it's like, let's do more slow-mo and more slow-mo and more slow. Like,
the only thing that I took away from that was the ratio, the aspect ratio, because I don't remember anything else about what his cut was.
Watch this film, guys.
Besides his ratio.
The way that Snyder
and that's
intended.
how badly it affected me that I don't remember anything.
It's the way Snyder intended to
it's
watch
like
films.
How I Met Your Mother, those blinders.
Oh yeah, I made the sensory deprivation 5,000. You guys said it wouldn't work, but it totally did. It's like, where's everybody? I don't know. Yeah, that was completely ridiculous. But yeah, essentially that's what it was. The motivation for it. And it's funny watching all these people. It wasn't just people that we know trying to justify the 4x3, but there were actual articles going, look, guys. There's reasons why. There's reasons why it's 4x3, and I love it for the justification for it. I'm like, that ain't even the right time frame.
But they also try to do that with black and white films as well, like saying, oh, they don't want to bring back the whole black and white thing. Unless, I mean, there's times where you can bring back the whole black and white thing, like specifically, but like doing it just to do it.
No, okay, I'm okay with that though. I'm okay with if you're gonna make a black and white film to try to make it like the time. Look, 4x3.
Like the time, yeah.
Hold on. That's what I'm talking about. Like 4x3 ratio, that comes from TV, that square TV. That's where 4x3 came from. That there's no other reason to do it other than time period wise of technology and development for that. Okay, 16:9. That goes from TVs today. Those are aspect ratios for that. Trying to force an old version of it, it's like going, hey guys, Snyder meant for you to watch this on an old tube TV and to be entertaining from that. That's exactly what he's saying. Those were old interlaced televisions. There's no reason for it unless you're trying to stylize like an older film. That doesn't work with a newer film or one based in this alternate universe with all this technology and doesn't make sense in the realm of filmmaking to go
I see what you're saying.
4x3. Unless you're doing like WandaVision did, where it's like, hey, we're doing the old style sitcoms like people used to watch, which went right back into our history of, for watching those old television shows at 4x3 on a tube TV.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
That didn't bother me.
Yes, and then they switched out to going, today, it's 16:9. And then they did the whole thing by like episode 3 or something like that. That is a motivation. That is a correct way. But, guys, Snyder wants you to watch all superhero movies like this. It doesn't make sense. It's like watching Marvel. All the Marvel movies, like Avengers, the way Snyder intended. Like everything, just blinders. 4x3. There is no justification for that you're going to convince us of. Because it is literally a piece of our history, human history, from tube TVs.
Right. Well,
right.
Like, I wonder, like, when you are watching older films and, like, on your new TV, right? And it's, like, black and white and it's, like, the 4x3, right? It doesn't bother you.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Like, there was that whole thing with Quibi trying to do vertical video. What did we just watch? It was somebody was just like,
oh, that's
this guy's just going to be filming, like, vertical video like an a-hole. I was like, oh. But I get it. Like, your phones are made that way. It'll adjust. It will actually adjust. Like, if you don't have it to the side, to fill your phone, and you go this way, it'll actually adjust so it's a 16:9 format anyway. The way Snyder intended. Get out of here. Sorry. That was one thing that bugged me a lot with it. It's like that, yeah. If you haven't watched our review, I believe it's on the Hide Hooligan Films YouTube. It's kind of a post-live review. We were like, forget it. We're just gonna watch this whole thing and record ourselves. We were thinking about doing live, but we didn't want to get hit with copyright, which we already were hit, a couple times. But it's like, guys, we're literally doing a commentary and a review on it. We're not even showing the dang film, and we turned down the volume, and it was twice. I think we got hit twice with that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the same thing. We're doing a commentary. We're doing our own commentary. We try to talk through most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. Besides that fact, all right, And I know we're kind of deviating from it, but again, popcorn flick. Stop trying to be artistic with your popcorn flick. All right, you imagine trying to be overly artistic with Mortal Kombat if you've seen it already. It's think of it this way. It's like when they showed the temple, which I barely remember, and it's just like, and it's just slow, and we got 5 minutes of running through this whole big wonder through the maze of the temple and whatever. It's like, get to the action.
Well, you go
get
there.
to what you want to get
You
to.
go
What
to
you
that
show.
movie because you want to see the action, right? So you would
Yeah.
expect that.
Exactly. That's.
And then you go there and you're like.
That's what the Snyder Cut was for us. Now, granted, there were interesting things that were added to it. Again, that's part of our review for the Snyder Cut that we talked about, where, you know, in the first in Whedon's version, there was more of character development between Wonder Woman and Aquaman and Batman. At least into the relationship to Wonder Woman and Aquaman's relationship to Batman, and less on Cyborg and the Flash. In this one, it seemed like it actually developed more of the Flash and Cyborg, almost like it overcompensated for the lack thereof in the first version. So, which one is better? Again, but the 4x3 killed it for us, man. It was ridiculous. Let me enjoy this popcorn flick with blinders on, because I can't see. And again, people justifying it, just stop.
Yeah, you could literally, like, in our review, it's like us being like, every time we're taken out of the movie because of the 4x3.
Yeah. You can see how many times we did, or just mentioning it, because it's like, dude, what? It didn't bother me. That's nice if it didn't bother you. Why are you doing it that way? Again, motivation for what? There was no reason whatsoever, unless you're trying to create something similar to an old vintage style film, which that was not. That was definitely not, with all the VFX and actions and all that stuff that's going on there with superheroes. That was not. Now, if they stylized it, if he stylized Justice League like that, okay? If he stylized Justice League, was I saying Batman vs Superman earlier? I might have been.
Did you?
I might have. I don't know. If they were stylizing Justice League, okay, like, say, like you're watching it on the old school way, and then they had that style of look for it, okay, then that would be justified. There's no other reason for that. Zero zip. Okay, it's trying to be overly artistic in a realm that's not meant. Again, there's a triad. It's like art, film, popcorn flick, and cinema, right? And I know they tried to get. He's trying to be like smack dab in the middle. That's what it felt like. It's trying to be like smack dab in the middle of all three. Guys, this is all about actions and superheroes and explosions and great, things that people love about superhero comics and the superpowers and whatnot. But it's also about the stories and the connections. But what? It's also about the art house. The way that we're going to artistically, like.
You know what that's like?
No, bro.
Those people who are like, it's action, it's comedy, it's drama, it's romance, it's There's a reason why there's genres.
Yeah. We call it multi-genre or multi-genre.
I mean, you can have multiple genres, but ultimately you have like a main one.
Yes. And that was my problem with Wonder Woman 1984 too. It's like it tried to be an action flick and a love story, and it's like, pick one, because you try to tell one and then you try to tell the other, then you try to go back to one, and it's like, this doesn't even make sense. Like, DC, come on, guys. You guys need to get some sort of sense of, like, just grounding in what type of story you're telling. Think of, like, a lot of people were unhappy with Thor Ragnarok because Taika Waititi did his whole new version of Thor, which was opposite of what he did. But he stuck with it through the whole thing. He wasn't trying to tell multiple stories. He was still telling the one story with him with this new style character of what he eventually evolved into. Okay? But it was one main story, or one thing that they're trying to convey across the whole thing. You start getting into this multi-genre thing, and it's like, oh, well, now we're going to do the action side, but now we're going to do the comedy side, and now we're going to do the drama side, and now we're... Yeah. It doesn't work that way. Okay, the idea that films are just snippets of moments. Okay, that is where Scorsese tries to talk about. It's like, no, it's beyond that. It's about the story. When he's talking about the difference between cinema and popcorn flicks. Popcorn flicks, yeah, it could be a series of moments. That's why you don't remember the stories that well. You know? Like, what's the story of Mortal Kombat? It's still what the game is. It's the tournament to, for protecting Earthrealm. That's what the story is about. That's it. Like, there's no other story really about it. None. They try to add backstory, which is different, of motivation for character. But which is it? Is it the revenge story? Is it a family story? Is it a fighter story? Is it a redemption story? Is like what is it?
Goes back to what's your story?
Yeah, it's popcorn flick. So popcorn flicks are essentially like moments, but they only usually play out well in terms of, say, action films or popcorn flicks, because not such as popcorn flicks or popcorn flicks. They only usually play out well in like action flicks where it's like, whoa, there's something that's interesting or cool to watch. Avatar, right?
Which Avatar?
Not The Last Airbender. We don't talk about that one. Avatar the movie. That was literally anytime that anybody does a film that pushes technology, to test out a new technology. I'm thinking like Sucker Punch, Avatar. I would almost want to say Tron, the first one, because that was a whole new thing that they did, but they did try to add, because that was an older style, right? They did try to add story into it and try to, like, what the story is if you've watched it. But a lot of times when they're testing out new styles or new technology, usually comes out as a popcorn flick. It's more for the entertainment value. Okay? Yeah. And then again, you get... I still feel like Marvel does a much better job at storytelling than DC does.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah. Like, just the way that they've set up their universe. And again, that's just our opinion about it. Whether you love the Snyder Cut for Justice League or whatever, again, DC versus Marvel, we don't care. We try to take it from a filmmaker's point of view and just overall completion. Because again, trying to hit up too many different styles all at once, it doesn't play out well.
It's
it really
just
doesn't.
like, as much as I enjoy most of the characters from DC, I just feel like you're not really given that moment of like shine, that actual like I can't think of the word, but that moment for them, where they really stand out because of the films. I feel like, I don't know, they did a kind of a good job with the Hulk, or that was Marvel. I don't know what I'm thinking about.
I will say though, for on that note, Wonder Woman. Before Wonder Woman 1984, in Batman versus Superman, and then in Wonder Woman, I believe the first movie, fantastic job. Right, that they stuck with it. They stuck with the story. Then they went with it. They tried to humanize her. They gave her a character. They went forward with it, and they did a great job with it. And I loved her leitmotif, because it was like every time it's just like, oh, and you hear it, it's like feel like an Amazonian. It's like, just like out there, like, oh, and it's gonna be some badass fight, and it was, And then they took that away in Wonder Woman 1984 and tried to make it a love story and a drama and an action film, and it's like, dude, you guys went in too many different directions for this stuff. Pick one and tell that story. Like,
well, I felt like I really enjoyed like the older Batman movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like Jack Nicholson as the Joker.
Yeah. No, he did a great job. But to be honest, a lot of them, what is it? It's like, thank you, not you, thank you.
Aww.
People say that a lot about Jared Leto's Joker.
Heath Ledger did really well.
Yeah, Heath Ledger did really well. Jared Leto's Joker, again, it's just like,
I don't think I really
just a
saw
style. It's just the style of it. It was different. I almost feel like they made him more, what's the right word for it? Like modern day thuggish. Like he had like all tattoos and stuff like that. It's like they try to modernize him a little too much. I
well,
think
because tattoos are the thing.
but that's it. But at that point, it was like, what is he, like a yakuza, like a laughing
really?
yakuza? Yeah, like I'm trying to remember because that was in jeez, what was that in? Was that in Suicide Squad? I think it's where it was. Yeah, and it was like trying to pull that sort of character out. It just seemed like it was they could, and I'd say modern yakuza. I want to say like almost like Americanized yakuza is the way it was. Yeah, no, like because he's all tatted up and he's in there and he's just like, oh, I'm just completely brutal, whatever. And it's like not even mafia.
But I mean, technically, isn't mafia the American version of?
I know. I'm just saying. It's like that's the best description I can get for his thing, and that's why people had a problem with it. Like, what is he? I don't. Okay, and they were just kind of turned off on it. Personally, I wasn't like, I didn't like it, but I didn't like hate it. So when we talk about filmmaking and storytelling, it's like if you don't elicit any sort of emotion, you've probably failed, and that's where my problem is. It's like I feel no like anything for Jared Leto's Joker. Now the Joker, like Joaquin Phoenix's one, felt something for that, right? Difference.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Jesse. What's his name? He was in wasn't he in?
What are you talking about? For a Joker character?
Was it Joker? No, it wasn't Joker.
Are you talking about oh my gosh, now I'm drawing like you suck. Take that away. Take it away.
It was from Justice. It was from.
No, it wasn't. Oh, it was from.
It wasn't Joker.
It wasn't Justice
what's
League.
his name?
It was from Batman versus Superman.
Was it Batman?
And it was he played. Lex
because he was in it at the end.
Lex Luthor. You're talking about Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he was in Justice League for the end. The end post. Technically, like mid-credits.
The reason why I thought of that is because people didn't like him, and that's just like they didn't like the Joker.
Oh yeah, his version of Lex Luthor. And again, if you've watched the extended cut is better for Batman versus Superman. Again, another popcorn flick, but the extended cut actually did flesh out his character development, his character arc. Because when we watched it in theaters the first time, I was like, he kind of like just jumped around and just all of a sudden he's here, now he's there, and it's like it didn't even make any sense. That little extra 30 minutes on the director's cut for Batman vs Superman did actually flesh his character arc a little out a little better, and it was like, oh, see, I feel much better with his character. So if you haven't seen the director's cut, hopefully you will catch the same thing that we did.
It's set up.
And it's set up a little bit better. But again, like I enjoyed Batman vs Superman, the director's cut, and yeah.
Wasn't there the Joker in the Justice League too? But
Jared Leto.
Was that still Jared Leto?
That was Jared Leto, yeah.
Okay.
Which, again, it took him away.
They replaced him.
They didn't replace him. There was that whole thing of like, look, he's back. You know, and again, his version of that, honestly, that Joker that he played in Justice League was a little bit better than the first Joker that they did on that. See, so he was less thuggish. He was like, it was more,
but you gotta remember,
not tainted soul. What's the word I'm trying to say? Like, his humor was like, it was much darker than what it was, and it was more like in your face. It changed up how his portrayal of it was. That Joker there was much better, even though it was very short.
My thing is it him or is it the director?
Well, yeah, it's both.
You know,
it's both.
So. Right?
It's definitely both. You know, people that are writing it, people that are directing it, you know, and then obviously the people that are portraying it. And if you watch, it's like that mid-credit scene. I'm pretty sure it was mid-credits.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was mid-credits. Because like they try to do like, oh, it's done, and then it's like, I think, I could be wrong, but it was the final scene. It's supposed to be, yeah, the very, very final scene, I believe, was the last scene on there. If you compare that to the other versions of Jared Leto's Joker, again, completely flip-flopped them. Much, much different. Okay? Like, I am less interested in his first versions of it, where it's like, this could have all been backstory, and it's less interesting. I don't care. Right? Every time he comes up. There's nothing that really stuck out. Again, I don't feel anything for him. You know, this new one, feel a little something for him, right? So, better job on that. Anyway, I know, like I said, a lot of people think that it kind of going back to popcorn flicks or that films in cinema. You know, they're like, I want a story, I want it to connect to people. That's cinema, right? And then they make films that are just a collection of moments. You know, like they're small snippets, and it's like that doesn't make a story. I mean, moments do make a story, but they all have to have some sort of cohesiveness.
I feel like it's not just popcorn flicks. But some horror movies have been doing that though too.
Horror movies are popcorn flicks.
Oh, didn't we say that earlier?
When's the next kill? Yes.
Yeah, but I meant like some of the slower. I don't know. I don't consider like those very slow like horror movies like
the 2/3 setup.
Popcorn flick.
2/3 of the movie setup before you get into any sort of meat of this thing.
Like I wouldn't consider that popcorn flick. You know?
I wouldn't either. That's again, like they said, they're trying to add too many elements into it. And again, that's not saying that you can't, but the execution of it is much, much more difficult to convey to an audience. And again, I get what he was trying to do. I can see all three versions of that in Justice League. I know we went to Justice League and popcorn flicks, but yeah, trying to do all three versions of like trying to be an art film, right? Art house film, trying to be a popcorn flick with the action and superheroes, you know, with the superpowers, and then try to be cinema, and it's like you're driving in way too many directions. You imagine being pulled in like 3 different directions? That doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. So, again, it takes a very... That's why you get cult classics that do multi-genre. Okay? Think,
Yeah.
there are things... There are people that do execute multi-genres very well. Right? My favorite movie of all time is... And that's saying something, considering I have tons of favorite movies. But one of my favorite movies, when it has been my favorite, I've said it was my favorite movie for a long time, is The Princess Bride. That is an action adventure comedy, right? And love story, romance story. Like it's got all those things all bundled into one,
But
and
all
the
meant to
execution.
happen.
How's that?
Like it all just fit very well
It
together.
all fit well into the same universe. You can still have action, and he's still doing his quips, but he's still driving for that love story to get his love, right? His
But that was an overarching
cop. Yeah.
goal, you know, that was the
Yeah.
overarching goal.
It was the overarching goal, but it was all still wrapped into one. Trying to think of some other ones that did really well. A lot of like horror comedies. You know, Shaun of the Dead, right? Horror comedy, multi-genre, did really well with it.
True.
Right? Dude, there are people that do multi-genres very, very well. Okay, and it's usually those end up being like cult classics because multi-genres don't necessarily
Any
sell
Mel
well.
Brooks film? Dracula
No,
Dead and Loving
see,
It?
Mel Brooks is different. Mel Brooks is just straight comedy and satire. It's like, yeah.
I want to watch that movie so
Dracula
bad.
Dead and Loving It. Okay, so if you haven't seen Dracula Dead and Loving It, there's a scene actually in, was it Batman vs Superman, or was it Justice League?
I think it's Batman vs Superman.
Batman vs Superman in the very beginning. Okay, in the beginning of Batman
No,
versus,
I don't know anymore.
I'm pretty sure it was Batman versus Superman.
Because we just watched it, and I think it might have
Yeah,
been
because it was with
Justice
Lex. It was with Lex.
Oh,
Lex Luthor. So there's that opening scene in. It's not opening scene. I'm sorry. It's one of the earlier scenes in Batman vs Superman where, the cops are trying to go after somebody. I forget what the call was, and then they go and try to rescue these people that are being human trafficked, and they're like trying to open the door, the metal gate where they're behind. And they're like, hey, and they're like, no, he's out there, you know. And then so these cops with 2 shotguns are walking up, and then one of them comes up, and he's looking around, and I think he sees the bad guy, and he's branded with Batman's thing. And then you see Batman up in the corner, like in the wall, like
Holding on,
up in the ceiling.
ceiling.
Yeah, up in the ceiling, and then he like takes off, like like a weird upside down crawl thing, like super fast. Like that's how that works, and anybody can do that, sure. Not even American Ninja Warriors can do that stuff, so that doesn't even make sense. Anyways, but there is a scene in Dracula Dead and Loving It where Leslie Nielsen is trying to go into, I forget the actress's name, what is in Mina's room, and he's trying not to get caught as they come in, and then they're like, where is he? And he's like up against the ceiling because he's Dracula. And then they leave and they slam the door. And as soon as they slam the door, he's like, ah! So, that scene, so when we were, because we saw that in the theater, Batman vs. Superman in theaters,
We
we're
busted
the
up
only
laughing.
ones, yeah, only ones in the theater, like, busting up laughing because we just watched Dracula Dead and Loving It, Mel Brooks film.
Well, that's because you were showing me for the first time.
Yeah, it wasn't too long before that, actually, and it was like, ah! It's like, he's Leslie Nielsen. Man Affleck, he's Leslie Nielsen. It's fantastic. Anyways, yeah, that. Now I want to go watch that. I want to figure out what we watched.
I gotta figure out what it's on.
It might have been on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
I almost want to say it's probably an Amazon Prime thing, but funny movie. They did a lot of, again, I love Mel Brooks movies. You know, they're just funny. Very, very funny. Dracula Dead and Loving It, that's one of the more obscure ones. People usually know Spaceballs or
comedy,
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Comedy.
Yeah, but he's comedy. Like I say, he's comedy and satire. You know, history of the world. You know, things like that.
I've never seen History of the World.
I know. I'm gonna get caught up on that.
I had the movie I had a DVD and I never went to go watch it.
Dude.
I never got the chance to.
Dude. Yeah. A lot of great films. Like again, I've grown up on way too many movies. So, yeah. It's probably why I became a filmmaker, right? Is because I've seen so much stuff. I've seen a lot of great stuff. I've seen a lot of horrible stuff. I've watched a lot of stuff. You know, just like a lot of people have. You know,
I
but
used to read a lot of books.
Well, yeah, I used to do that too. So, especially during middle school, man. Like, I actually switched out most of my stuff from high school. Was high school on? No, right out of high school, I started switching over to more nonfiction stuff. So everything I was consuming after that was just like nonfiction books, you know. But up until then, dude, avid reader.
You know, I didn't think I would switch to nonfiction books until we started working together.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're. What are you listening
to
now, anyway?
Right now?
Yeah.
Relentless.
Yeah, and I'm gonna pull up the book that that's Tim Grover.
Tim Grover, yeah.
Tim Grover's book, because I just started because I've been wanting to listen to this one. It was in my favorite, or not favorites. What's the wish list? Wish list for like over a year, and that's David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. Like, I've been wanting to listen to that one for a long time, but I did finish Relentless, and I'm glad that you're on that one. That's another great one. Feels like almost like the same sort of spirit so far, even though I've just listened to like 5 seconds of the intro forward. This one. Yeah, don't quote me on that just yet. Anyways. Phone is tripping out here. Like, chill out, bro. Anyways, so, yeah. Mortal Kombat. You do need to catch up on Demon Slayer so I can actually talk to you about it a little more.
Yes.
And then possibly go see the movie in theaters.
Yeah, it's like, there's not that many episodes, right?
I forget how many episodes are on there. But it is only one season.
Did you watch it in a night? Because I know you.
No.
Oh, okay.
You won't be able to watch it at night.
Okay, I was like,
You know me.
The season just came out.
What do you...
The second season of Stranger Things just came out. I stayed up all night watching it.
Yeah, that did happen then.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was bad. But there are other ones I want to watch. Shadow and Bone just came out.
I want to watch that one too. But then I'm also trying to catch up with Naruto too.
Dude, okay, that's another thing y'all need to catch up on. Because I've read the manga, so I know everything that happens, and it's like, I just want to see how they execute it, and I'm not even caught up on the anime, but I know what's going to happen, so I'm like...
I know, I'm just like, I'm trying to stay ahead. But he's catching up so fast.
I know. Yeah, anyway, again, there's a lot of stuff we watch, there's a lot of things we cover.
Popcorn flicks.
Yeah, kind of goes back to that whole thing. Oh, yeah, then and my little pet peeve that people do, like, when filmmakers ask you, have you seen this movie? And you're like, no, haven't had time. Well, if you want to be a filmmaker, you gotta watch movies. I'm like, asshole, I've grown up on movies. I've watched a ton of movies. Not just things that I've enjoyed, but things from history and big, film, like, things like, big film iconic movies that we've analyzed over and over again and stuff like that. Get out of here, man. Don't come with me with that stuff. Like, you have no idea what type of things that we've watched or what I have. Just because I haven't watched the movies you've watched, not everything you watch, doesn't mean I don't watch movies or even analyze it and do what we do. Like, yeah.
Speaking of anime, I was wondering, or like popcorn flicks that are animes. So I know,
Okay.
like, My Hero movie came out, but
Yeah, My Hero, it's more, I guess you can kind of say it's a popcorn flick. I mean, you got to be really careful with the type of anime that's out there, because they have, like, not only do they have hentai, which is like the adult, sex crap that they throw into there, but you also have ecchi stuff, which is like softcore, is what they call it, where it's like they're not doing adult stuff, but some of the types of animes that they get out there, they're just really dumb, and a lot of them do have to do with like teenagers or like young kids and stuff like that. Not just like, sometimes just with nudity, sometimes without, and it's just like you got to be really careful with that.
It's almost always there.
It's not almost always there. It's like this whole subset of anime that's like that's not even a subset. It's like a big portion of it. So trying to find good stories with it. That's why I kind of like Demon Slayer. They kind of took away, from that and went to the action and the story. That's why I like stuff like Cowboy Bebop or Samurai Champloo, or they don't go and play towards that stuff. I don't think they did it too much with
Inuyasha.
Yeah, or like Inuyasha.
Kind of did, but not really.
Not really. Yeah.
Because it was Moroku, who was more of a
I get
out there character, but it wasn't like they did too much like they usually.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so like the more action ones are some of the better ones. Now, granted, some of those, like they say, it's like a harem style anime where you've got one male protagonist and they're surrounded by a bunch of different women, that are not all trying to vie for him, but they're sort of trying to vie for him in their own way, or they're all related to him in some way. Some of those premises that they come up with are actually pretty good, and I'm trying to remember the one, like there was one with like Brunhilde in the Darkness is what it was. And it's the idea that witches are not genetically manufactured, but like technologically manufactured in a way where they have this thing on the back of their neck. They only have a certain amount of spells before they just essentially and if you remove this thing back here, and if they use as much, I think it's if they use all their power up, or if they remove this thing on the back of the head, they like completely melt and die. So the idea of having magic and power comes with the price of your life becomes more limited.
Did they make a movie out of that?
No, it was a series.
Oh.
And I like the premise for it, but it is a harem style. Where it's like one male protagonist and all the women witches are coming to help. I don't think it was. From what I remember, it wasn't ecchi. So I think it was okay. Don't quote me on that. I have to go check. Attack on Titan
isn't like that either.
Correct.
But it's very good, like with action. Oh, don't talk about live action.
Yeah.
That's another live lunch.
Yeah, we'll do that one. Anyways, but that's a whole anime side to it. Like again, it's rough to try to find good anime out there that's not overly sexualized, especially with like kids. It's like get out of here with that crap, man. But some of the ideas for the types of worlds that they build are still one of the most original in the world, because they are allowing them to actually go and do that, even in the vein of stupid crap like ecchi or hentai, whatever. Not hentai. I don't know what they do in hentai. I mean, I know what they do in hentai. Just like I don't know story wise, like what they do, if they even have stories. So
I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea either. So, but even the ecchi stuff, it's like I don't like. It's just dumb, and that's why a lot of people are turned off by anime. And I'm like, I get it, dude, I get it. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed this one for our live lunch. This is Mortal Kombat in theaters. Go see it, please, in theaters. Support theaters. They desperately need that. We need to get back to that anyway. Stop letting the big Hollywood studios vertically integrate to that. And yeah, again, you can support us. Hit that subscribe button down below. Come watch our videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays for a live lunch. You can also become a hooligan. Our patreon.com/HideHooliganFilms, or buy one of our RPG IRL shirts at the Wandering Kiltsman combat.com/shop.
Like and share.
Like and share. Yeah, like and share. I guess you guys can like and share this, I suppose. Yeah, anyways. We'll see you guys later. And, yeah.
Bye.
Bye.